Hello, and welcome to episode 39 of Are You Mad at Me? I'm Vickie Morgan.
I'm Josh Morgan.
I'm excited.
What are you excited about?
I'm very excited.
Got lots of stuff happening?
We got lots of stuff happening, and we got some casserole.
We got casserole in the oven.
Reheating in the oven, so we're going to...
What was the last thing we were making that we had? Was it banana bread?
Banana bread.
Banana bread in the
that
oven?
takes over an hour.
Yeah, this is a quick casserole.
Yeah, so I'm having like a... I'm having like a moment of like revamping, not revamping, but like reevaluating why we do the podcast. And so I feel like succinct. I got a few things to share this week, and of course we'll be here again next week. We're here every Wednesday. I'm going to try some different things.
Yeah.
You ready for this?
I don't know if I'm ready, but I'm here.
Thank you to everybody that listens to the podcast week in and week out and sends us comments and lets us know what you got going on.
Yeah.
We love to hear from you, and we love to know that we're making some kind of we're not just talking into the void here. And we're doing all the things too. We're taking all the steps that we're talking about.
It's really nice to hear people that are hearing stuff about self-publishing that they didn't know before.
Yeah.
And like getting something out of it that way. And marketing, we had some people get in touch last week about how well their marketing is going.
Yeah.
Maybe not because of us, but that's help. You know, we're helping. We're lending a hand.
It's energy.
Putting some energy.
It's all
in
energy.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about expanding our business and reaching more people, and other people are listening to that and going, "Hey, here's how I could do that for my business." It's just we're on the same frequency.
Yeah.
So I love hearing stories like that.
It's always nice.
I feel like I'm kind of sitting out away from you or something. Should I?
Well, you're
facing you right now, or
where
are we?
I'm wondering how the camera focus is going to handle you being a different distance from the camera. That's fine. We'll figure it. This is primarily an audio podcast.
I'm sorry for anybody that's just listening and not seeing the fabulousness of
the
us.
Glorious Morgan family.
Yeah.
That's a nice shirt you got there. Your homemade Nate Land shirt.
My boyfriend made that for me. I like calling Josh my boyfriend because it seems like we're not an old stodgy married couple then. I like to call you my boyfriend all the time, right? Yeah. I rarely call you my husband. I sometimes like to call him my partner so people wonder if I'm lesbian, because I think that kind of reaches a different
It's especially weird when I'm standing there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of funny.
Like, she's pretty.
Yeah. And I also had a thought this week, like maybe I was wondering what would happen if I wrote a religious song, because, you know, there's a big market. But there was a guy from my high school, he was a few years ahead of me, and he's like a big Christian rock star. Like, he's like Amy Grant level, massive. His name is Matthew Marr. Brilliant musician, but went very, very, very religious. We went to a Catholic high school with Jesuit priests. Absolutely amazing school. But he was a brilliant musician, and that's where he went, because maybe he was called to it. Maybe the money's nice. I don't know. But I was wondering, like, could I write a religious song? And I don't know. But I know that, you know, going on up to the spirit in the sky.
Yeah. There was like a Christian revival in pop rock music in the 70s, where all the hippies were like incorporating Jesus into their music. So like, Jesus is just all right with me. Jesus is just all right. I think it's the Doobie Brothers.
I don't know. The Doobie Brothers had a song about Jesus.
I'm telling you, I don't know. That might have been I'd say Jesus would have been 100% for weed.
I don't know. We hung out with sex workers, had long hair, hung out with freaky people.
Wore
that's
sandals.
A song. That might have been a song. Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, so one thing I'm going to incorporate going forward is
Jesus.
No, because I don't think I could pull it off, because I feel like God and Jesus are kind of, plug your ears if you're in the car with your kids, but I think they're kind of dirty words to me. I don't want to associate with the same words. There's some nasty stuff going on in the world right now, and people are doing it in the name of those entities. I don't want to associate that. I'm not speaking to the same person. I'm not hearing from the same names, and to call it that, it feels kind of like icky. I don't want to be lumped in with the people who are, you know, taking away rights and doing things in the name of church and all that stuff, because it's kind of gross. Whether we're all referencing the same feelings and callings and imagination remnants or whatever, I don't know.
It's just different names for the same thing.
I think it might be, but I feel like when you put it in a building and you're tithing your income, and you know, there's people, you know, running the church that are in brand new cars and live in big giant houses and stuff like that. It seems like life of poverty is kind of far from them. But anyway, didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole.
There was an episode of South Park, I told you about this the other day, that they decided to do to be a Christian band.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they just covered a bunch of pop songs and took out every time they said the word baby in the pop song, they replaced it with Jesus. So it'd be like, I love you so much, Jesus, instead of baby, you know, and then they got really popular as a Christian boy band.
So
we could do that.
Well, when I did my songwriting work with Sean Painting, he said his rule of thumb was don't ever use the word baby unless you are referring to a very small human child. And a certain age, like you had to be, So I'm a little averse. I have an aversion to the word baby.
He was a
songs.
baby prescriptivist when it came to songwriting.
He was, and so I haven't really used it, but I might going forward, and then maybe we'll try Christian versions of it. But anyway, just a thought that I had: could I write a Christian song? And I don't know. I will say, I do love Catholic worship songs. I absolutely love Catholic music.
I have feelings when I hear Southern gospel because it's like I grew up listening to Southern bluegrass and gospel, and it's like sometimes I'll be listening to bluegrass music, washing the dishes or whatever, and the boys are like, "What is this?" And it's like, this is just my comfort, my home base for.
So I think it's kind of a misnomer to say, like, to call us atheists, especially you. I mean, you probably more than me. But anyway, it's just like we're not religious. It's just we don't subscribe to a particular house of brick and mortar and theology and, hatefulness and stuff like that, because it seems like it kind of comes together in those things. But I think like music is a whole different language also. It's a different frequency. And there are I'm learning that there are actually tones that you can, like the colors in restaurants that make you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Like some make you hungry, some make you eat faster.
Yep.
There are chords and keys that will actually make you feel a certain way. So if you're writing a song that you want to make people feel sad or uplifted or inspired or whatever, there are different keys you can put the songs in and people know this. Like, it seems like a magical science, but it really isn't. People are very aware that Henry is 14, brilliant musician, and he's very aware of, this is really in a minor chord,
putting music together.
Why do he'll say, I feel sad, this must be a minor key, and he's like, he is tuned in.
We talked about this last year. There was a thing, this might be unrelated, but we were at the Black Sheep talking to Don Marr. Mm-hmm. And he brought up the 1962 theory or whatever. I don't know if it's a real thing, but there's so many songs with the year 1962 in it. And it's like it's just such a, maybe it's just because it sounds good in a line, 1962, or it's easy to rhyme with or whatever. But like there was a Ron Hines song, I dreamed it was 1962. And then like the Bob Seger song, I woke up last night to the sound of thunder. It was like there's 1962 in that song. Night moves anyway, but there's I got to thinking about it the other day, and I came up, I was washing dishes again, and there was like half a dozen songs that had the year 1962 in it.
Really?
And I can't remember what they are now because you just reminded me of it.
That's really funny.
It's like a year.
So what I find funny from your story is that you are doing dishes, which a lot of people think you have to sit down in this prana. Was it something prana pose or something like that? With
lotus position.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. People seem to have this idea that you need to be in this position to meditate, and doing dishes. Like I did the mindfulness-based stress reduction program at Maine Med, and that was one of the things. You can meditate while you're sweeping the floor or while you're doing mindless things like doing the dishes. And I'm glad you don't do it mindlessly because our dishes are very, very clean. But I feel it's comical that you are getting these thoughts, putting this list together, connecting dots with music while you're doing the dishes. It's very meditative. Like you didn't go to church that day, but you had an experience. And it's like, we're all connected. And so anyway, I had a point. What was it?
Were you talking about writing music? Was that where you started with that?
Yeah, no, it was if I wrote a Christian song, could I make it hit? But there was that guy that wrote the song Spirit in the Sky.
Yeah.
They talked about that on Comedians in Cars. The guy who wrote that was Jewish. And and bought a yacht out of the money he made from that one song. I don't know if you can still make money from one song like that. I don't know how that even happens. But
I don't know.
Paula, cover up your belly. Or is this a belly sweater?
I got to say, we were, last night, I don't know if you're going to talk about this yet or not, but we were at your high school reunion last night.
I'm getting to
it. And there was some, I had some feelings towards the music. Like, there was music playing.
Was there music playing?
It was, and a couple of times, I don't know if you noticed, but you were having a conversation with somebody that you hadn't talked to in a long time, and I went over and turned the music down because the song came on and it was like way louder than the rest of the songs. So I went up and went to the mixer and turned it. But like there was a couple of times where it was like, I think Weezer came on. I feel like it was a Buddy Holly or something, and it was like I want to go home and play guitar. And we haven't played much music lately, and I was like really feeling. Okay. Aside from having a guitar like in the living room that I just pick up and noodle around with every now and then, I was like, I want to go home. I want to plug in the amp. I want to hook up the Strat, and I want to feel these chords because. So I was like, maybe we need to be doing some more music stuff.
That's so funny because I didn't hear any music at the reunion.
Oh, it was
at all.
You said something about that earlier today. I was like, there was lots of loud music.
Yeah, no, there was a few points where someone said to me, I don't know why they're not playing any music, because there was Paul Victorino. He sent a whole thumb drive of music to them to play, and it wasn't playing. It was just, it was a surreal out of body experience. You had stuff to focus on, but that music was playing from the moment we walked in. There was very loud music playing. But there were moments where people, like, we'd run out of stuff to say, or like there'd be an awkward moment or whatever, and it was like, why isn't there any music playing? Or like, when you say, am I talking really loud? Like, it was so and I'm so glad I didn't know what to expect, because there was no way I could have prepared for my high school reunion. There's no way. And I'm really glad I was very nervous, wasn't going to go. But I'm really glad I didn't know what was going to happen, because there's no way I would have set foot in that door. It was so emotionally overwhelming.
It's got to be.
All the feels. And so a couple of days before.
It was 30 years.
30 years.
So that's a lot of the rug bunching up at the end of the.
Well, I missed the 20 year because we were living away, and I loved my time at Gonzaga. I mean, I loved it.
Was there a 10 year? Did they do a 10 year?
I don't think so.
That would have been before we met.
Not that I ever heard of. But it's so, like, all the emotions from this past week leading up to the, like, someone had put a website together, like a Google Drive, of a bunch of pictures, and they had taken pictures. I couldn't afford a yearbook any of the years I was in high school. But I was, like, my home life was not great during my school career. But when I went to Gonzaga,
just that 18 years or 12 years.
Yeah. But when I went to Gonzaga, there, like, the world opened up. So I changed schools a lot leading up to, but for Gonzaga, it was like first day grade 9, last day grade 12. I was with the same people. We had a really, really good year. There were years, like, there were folks that were older than us when we got there. Where there was, like, it was brutal. Like, there was articles in a newspaper about how these gangs of kids in the same school were, like, having these big fights in the middle of a field out in Logie Bay, Middle Cove.
That's funny. That same thing happened when I was in middle school. And then when we got to high school, nothing happened.
So I don't know what happened between them 3 years ahead of us and us, but by the time we got to be the seniors in the school, we just had a nice group of people.
Yeah.
There was really no
gang fights.
It wasn't like that. Everybody was like, we kind of had, like, those, I guess we watched a lot of after school specials or something, but, like, we actually, we learned all the lessons. We lost a friend in grade 9 who died very, very tragically that summer. So when we went back to grade 10, we had a memorial service for Rogan Power. And I don't know if that kind of shaped us a little bit, or if, like, we had a really good principal. Father Altilia was there, and he was just a solid human being, priest aside. But the Jesuits, I found, were super educated and really focused on us having a good time and learning. Like, they were really, really passionate about us learning about the world around us, and they weren't afraid to let us ask questions about religion. And we had world religion classes, and, like, it wasn't a Catholic experience. It was like a Jesuit. I think it was led by them. And they, if there wasn't enough money for a program, the Jesuits would pile in money, and people called it, I didn't know this, but they called it a prep school. It wasn't. But I was very fortunate to be able to go to that school just because I lived in the district, but I was very, very low income. I mean, social assistance for most of my time in high school. And I didn't know till last night how many people also were very, very low income. I had no idea.
That's really funny. Because nobody's going to talk about it. It's like social media. Like, you put the best stuff forward. When you get to high school, when you get to the school in the morning, you look as good as you can, and you put out that aura.
But I just didn't feel left out of a lot of things. And, like, I was on all the committees. I was in band. I was in choir. Lots of different committees and things that I could fit in. Like, I was a bus student, so I got bussed in the morning and had to be on the bus to go home. Every now and then I had a friend that would bring me, I could get a ride home, but I lived pretty far. But during those days, I packed in everything I possibly could, and I had tons of friends. I was happy. I missed, like, Friday evenings, I would get sad having to go home. And then all weekend, I couldn't wait to go back to school on Monday. I couldn't wait. I loved it.
Was there ever anything that you did, like, Friday nights, Saturday nights, school related? Like, we used to have, growing up in the South, there was always, like, a football game on a Friday night, or, like, maybe a dance or something. But, like, there was usually sports stuff that people would actually go to and hang out. And it was like a...
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, because I couldn't get rides. So probably they got together and did stuff, but I couldn't get a ride places. So I was Friday evening coming home on the bus. I was locked in, and then there was that whole thing on Friday on the weekends and stuff. There was a lot of drinking, a lot of cop cars, and a lot of suicide attempts, and a lot of fights and police, and it was just chaos. But then I'd go back to school on Monday morning, and Father Altilia would be He stand in the hallway and he knew every single one of our names. There was 720 kids at Gonzaga, and he knew every single one of our names. And he'd say hi. With the buses would unload, and he'd say, "Hi, Vickie. Hi, Allison. Hi, Liam." Yeah. I mean, it was just beautiful. So to see all those folks, so Mark and Joe and Colleen put all the pictures in a drive, and looking through the photo album was like, I didn't remember. It's so funny because it's there, it's a part of my life, but I didn't remember how much I loved so many people.
There was so much of that, like last night. I heard so many people say, like, I didn't remember that at all until just now, or like I the stuff that like they made them really happy with. It was like just tucked away, and
such a big deal then, and you just move on, and it's been 30 years, so of course we moved on.
I never heard anything about a high school reunion for my class for 10 years or 20 years.
You went to two different high schools too, right?
Yeah.
You didn't finish your
and 20 years, I just thought the other day, like 20 years would have been COVID, like the 2020. So that would have been right in the middle of, so I don't even know if they did.
Would you want to go?
Like the people that I was friends with for the most part, I am in contact with. Like
there's that. That was kind of funny at the reunion too, because we kind of went with I was going to go by myself, and then I was like, I don't know, this is going to be nerve wracking. Maybe I won't go. And then a friend from high school, and I had already invited you because we were able to bring spouses, and I was like, okay, I got my security blanket. I know I'm going with somebody who loves me, and I really felt like, who's going to care that I'm there? Like I just couldn't remember any of the feelings, and then it's just kind of unfolded. And then Tracy got in touch, and she was like, I'm going to come pick you guys up, and we're going with a group of girls. And it was just like, well, these are the people I've kept in touch with. I mean, let's just stay at Tracy's house. But when we walked in, like there were, oh my God. And I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. I'm not gonna say I have God moments, because again, I don't want to associate with folks who are like nasty, mean people who use that reference. But I think I might start saying I had Joe moments. Because that little dude's been showing up in my life, and I've had some Joe moments. And I think if it's okay to say I had a whatever, like if you can talk about all these other entities and things like that, like is it socially acceptable for me to say I think my son is wherever people go when they die, still with us, really, and I think he looks out for me. 100%. Like, is that okay? Like maybe that's my God experience. I don't know. Come to Joe meeting, come to Jesus meeting, same kind of thing. But I've had a couple of experiences this past week, and then this really freaks me out. I'll get to Joe later, but this is...
I just want to say, before we move on from it, the last night there was so many instances of people coming up to you saying, like, I'm so glad to see you. You are such a positive and encouraging and supportive person to have around in high school, and I'm so glad. Like, people were so happy to see you, and they liked you in high school, and it came over to today, where it's like, or not today, yesterday, where it was like, you know, I'm glad to see you now. You're still positive, and you're doing great things, and like, it was a really nice, it was good to see, validating, I think. I hope that's what you felt.
What was it like for you to be married to that person?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, I knew, like, I know your personality, and
I have cried so much over the last couple of days. I can't even. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to come back to the reunion, but so I had this experience. How did it happen? Oh my God, I don't remember how. This is just how these things kind of happen. There's an organization that when we were pregnant with Joe, and we found out he had trisomy 13, we of course were up late nights scouring the internet, because we had this group of doctors who were like, terminate now. There will be his condition is not compatible with life, which is... That
was a fun phrase that we learned.
Can we just pick that apart for just a second? Not compatible with life. Like, what is that? Is that like poison? A bomb? A gun shot? I mean, not a gun, because guns they have a purpose, but an actual like firing bullet coming at your face, like that's incompatible with life, especially if it goes to the right spot, because you can get a bullet in a whole lot of other places on your body and you don't bleed out. We've been watching The Rookie. Love Nathan Fillion. That's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. So incompatible with life. We're talking about a human being. So SOFT support. So it's the SOFT, SOFT. It's support of families with trisomy. So it's dedicated to families who have had a diagnosis of trisomy 13 or trisomy 18, which I've heard are called the nasty trisomies. I thought there were hundreds, but that's ridiculous, because there's only 23 pairs of chromosomes.
Yeah.
And the 23rd one is the XY chromosome, which I just learned this week. So there's really only 22 pairs. And if something goes wrong on those, you get
and
trisomy.
the most common one that everybody has heard of is 21, which is
21.
Down syndrome.
Yes. So 18 is Edwards syndrome, and trisomy 13 is Patau syndrome. So that's what Joe had. Okay, so somewhere along the way last week, I don't even know how it came into my experience, but I was on the Soft website, and there was a question on there about the Soft organization had published a book. It was basically a parent's guide for children who have been diagnosed with trisomy 18. Now, most of them are terminated during the pregnancy. One of the issues that comes up for families with this diagnosis is that the doctors will push you to terminate immediately. And so when you choose to carry on with the pregnancy, there's a whole lot of medical pushback and like the help that the babies need. So this organization has gathered together all their information. They have a whole bunch of parents who have gotten on, like I'm the Atlantic Canadian chair for Soft.
I just want to throw out there really quick that we were in the U.S. when this happened, where the healthcare system is very much capitalist based. Like you get sick,
is here too.
We pay you for, but like it's like you pay for your healthcare. So it seems to me like they would push more towards let's get this happen. Let's get these surgeries going. This is going to be a lot of, as opposed to here where it's socialized healthcare, where it would be like, all right, now this is going to be a big burden on the healthcare system because this is all getting paid for by the government.
Yeah.
But it was kind of the opposite of that, where it was like
that is
in the U.S. they're like, okay, this is going to be. You don't want to continue with this. That's the experience that we had.
That's a really solid. I mean, I guess maybe if they encourage you to keep a baby with that condition and you ended up with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of medical bills, you could sue a doctor who advised you to have that baby.
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
I don't actually know what people's experiences are in Canada, so that's my mission for this week.
There you go.
Is I don't know what they do when you get a diagnosis of trisomy 13. I don't know any stories from Canada, but I will find out. I will reach out. So Soft
is Soft an international organization?
International,
okay.
yes, yeah.
So it's not just Canada.
That's why, like, I'm the Atlantic Canadian chair, so all the Atlantic provinces, there are no other volunteers. So if somebody gets a diagnosis in those, and I've never, ever, ever had a call.
Yeah.
So the point is that this organization has all these resources, and they actually, like, have a lot of advice for when you run into doctors who won't help, that sort of stuff. The point of all that, I am going to do a couple of episodes of the podcast dedicated to trisomy 13. I think they might be special aside episodes, not the weekly one. So anyway, I'm on the website, and they've got this book. They're announcing that they had this book, and it was like from in the past year.
Yeah.
So they had published this guide for families of a diagnosis with trisomy 18, and someone had commented on there and said, "Do you have one for trisomy 13?" And so I just, left a comment and said, well, I have a book about trisomy 13. And she said, well, my granddaughter was born with, I don't know if she survived or not. I didn't know her details. But the Soft organization said, yes, we're about to publish one in the next 6 months about trisomy 13. So turns out, I think the book they published was, sometimes there's like a sign, right? And it's like, that's not a sign, Vickie, because it's not the exact date. But it was sometime around February 14th that they published. I might have my dates mixed up because I kind of went down a rabbit hole with this. Anyway, so I see like a little screenshot of the picture of the book cover, and I was like, look at that. So I go to Amazon, and we'll put a link. So this is here's where I'm going with this. The cover of the books that they produced, the Parent's Guide to Trisomy 13 and a Parent's Guide to Trisomy 18, has a silhouette of a woman turned to the side with her chin is kind of down, and she's got a pregnant belly, and well, basically, I can show you. If you cut the bottom part of this and the top part of this, go ahead. That's the cover of their book. I mean, it's over to the side, but it's this exact painting by Stephen Hoke. I mean, they added eyelashes. There was
it looks to me like one of those AI things where you can take a picture and AI makes a couple little changes to the curves of the color or whatever, and it makes it its own,
Yeah. So this organization that I've been involved with for Joe he was born 2013, so that would have been 12 years ago.
Yep.
I've been involved with the organization since I was pregnant. Posting on the page, sharing the book with people, sending it to the administration so they have a list of resources. They're very, very aware of my book. I would have thought so. I'm really learning this week that sometimes I communicate and things don't get to the person I mean for it to receive it. Anyway. So there's the cover of my book on the cover of their book. And I was like, what? I've never run into that before. So I sent a message to them on Instagram and Facebook and to their email. And I said, I just want to bring this to your attention. The cover of your book is exactly my cover, and mine was a commissioned piece of art.
From 8 years ago.
We published in 2018, right?
Yeah.
So immediately got a response back from the executive director. And he said, so first of all, he went and looked up my book, and he said, I can tell your book is a very heartfelt story. It looks really amazing. Thanks for sharing it. I can assure you that the artwork on our covers was commissioned by Jen Gilstone.
An artist.
Someone.
Yeah.
Who did the artwork for the cover and typeset the book. Okay. I can assure you, I don't mean to be dismissive of it. This is not where I'm going with that. But that's what's listed on the book. I did buy a copy. And the person the executive director of Soft emailed me personally, and he said, I can assure you this was commissioned artwork for our cover. It was not copied. And he said, I think it's a pretty common image anyway of a side profile of a woman, a pregnant woman. And the rage, I haven't felt that sort of rage since Delivery Room with Joe. Like you have. But I've done a lot of work on myself, and I had a Joe moment. And it was like, you know what? Fighting this is not going to serve anybody, because that book, and the executive director did explain, I can't remember his name.
Yeah. I feel like it was Matt something.
I
Mike.
don't remember. Doesn't matter.
Name.
Anyway, he said the intention of their book is only 50 pages, is to put it in doctor's offices and places so that expectant parents can get a copy. Now, the chances of that ending up at like maternal fetal, oh my God.
Maternal fetal medicine.
Maternal fetal medicine in Portland, Maine, very slim, because they're not in that business. They are not encouraging families. So how that's going to get in there, it's not going to be accepted by the medical establishment. That's predictive.
The medical establishment that says you should terminate this pregnancy because it's not compatible with life.
But there was a study that just came out, the American Association of Pediatrics, the APA, the American Pediatric Association. They've released new studies and information, and they are advising physicians in the U.S. to treat families with this diagnosis differently than they have in the past. So there are some big steps being made. So this Soft organization and folks like myself and Josh who have shared stories of what it's like to have this diagnosis, and there are thousands of babies who are born who live for years. People don't know that. And so the information is changing as the stories are getting out there. They're not researching it. The stories are coming out anecdotally, and it's changing. So Soft is doing some really vital work, and are advancing things, and families are having much better experiences than they used to. So I think it's really important for people to know what's available to them when these books are books. So something else that happened is I went to Amazon and I just typed in trisomy 13, and I came across this woman who had written a book. She had a baby with trisomy 13 and then adopted another baby with trisomy 13, and it's called Child of My Heart. And I'm hoping to get her on the podcast. But another Joe moment.
Yeah.
I found a woman who I started reading her book on I just downloaded the sample at first, and it was almost word for word, like
it was very similar story.
Stuff the doctor said to her,
Crazy.
The same experiences, the same stuff with the genetic counselor.
Do you remember? Did you find out what state she was in?
No, not yet.
But it wasn't Maine.
No. She was in California.
Yeah, so it wasn't Maine. It wasn't the same.
No, it wasn't the same doctors. The same experience. Like, so awesome. I was like, this is one of those things. Like, it's been 13 years, 12 years, and it's like I'm having Joe moments where I feel like this child is I don't know if he's how old he is in wherever he is. Obviously, he's not a 6.5-month-old baby, but I feel like there's something guiding me or telling me or letting me know. Like, this is important stuff.
Yep.
So I'm kind of glad that they used my cover in one way, because it's not like there's no reviews on Amazon. There's no ratings, which means the book hasn't sold any copies. I mean, I bought one, and I'm going to leave a review. And also, I went and left a review before I bought the book, and it was like, this is my cover, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out,
the rage range.
Yeah, it was very ragey. And I went back a couple of days later to see if it had posted, because I was like, if I'm going to go on my podcast and try to promote their book with mine, and this, because he did offer to bring it back to the committee and offered to people as a resource.
Which might be a good turn.
It might be, it might be wonderful. But I was like, oh my God, what if that thing posted? And I didn't know how to take it back. So I get on the page, I bought a copy of the book, and I find, where I had started the review and I didn't hit submit. And you tell me that that's not a Joe moment.
Right. It was still there for you to change or delete or whatever.
Okay. I feel like there was something else this week too. There was something else. So anyway, all that to say, this book was a labor of love. And it was about our experience with Trisomy 13. And I am, Trisomy Awareness Month is March. So I am pretty pumped to do some interviews with people who have written books about Trisomy 13. And I also want to promote, I think it was like $11 or something for the soft book. It's a resource. It's 50 pages. Yeah. It's like, it is vital information about what your rights are. Not just your rights, but like what to expect, right, and what the medical things that are happening to your body and to your baby are that you need to know. And when somebody's trying, like, can you just get the abortion already? Can you just do a medical termination? They're not telling you what's happening to your body. And it's like, you need to be able to make an informed decision. Maybe you don't want to continue the pregnancy. Maybe you don't want to keep your baby alive, but if you don't have all the information in front of you, you can't make that choice.
Yeah.
And I can tell you without question, the women I met who had medical terminations had zero difference in the experience.
Oh, yeah. It was still traumatic.
100% exactly the same experience. Yeah. We went through the exact same emotions. Yeah. And maybe they had an extra layer of, oh my God, but the grief was exactly the same. The trauma was exactly the same.
And I think there's probably a whole other, like, you have, what if I hadn't terminated? What could have happened? And then with, you know what I mean? Like, there's
meeting other families who had been through it, who terminated, and they're looking at me going, I mean, maybe I should have given my baby a chance. And I'm looking at them going,
right, exactly.
Maybe I wouldn't have ended up with PTSD and 5 years of non-functioning life if I hadn't gone through with the pregnancy and held a dead baby.
Yeah.
Like, maybe if I had not gone through that for 6 more weeks of care, basically like an incubator of a funeral home. I mean, I didn't know what was going to happen. I also, because I was in touch with Soft and on the Facebook pages and in the groups, I knew that there was a chance that he could survive. Right. And so we also knew, like, thanks to my friend Allison, who also was doing research for me at the time, I knew how to plan for the loss in the hospital, the pictures, taking the little bracelets and taking all the little mementos and things you can do that you think at the time, I'm never going to want that. But you need to prepare for both.
Yeah.
You can hope for the best, but if you're not prepared for the loss in the hospital and know what to expect, it's like,
so it's good to have those resources.
You want to be making those decisions.
It's good to have those resources ahead of time.
And so, like, when the funeral home was pushing us to buy, like, the urn and stuff, I was like, what? And, like, cremation services are free for stillbirths, if you don't know that. But we had a funeral home that tried to charge us, and it was, it was a whole, it's all in the book. Why am I saying all that? I had a Joe moment, and this week I thought it's the first book, it's kind of done. And then I come across this organization that copied my cover.
Yeah.
And it was like, why is this happening? How am I attracting this experience into my life? And it's like, maybe it's not a fighting thing.
Maybe it's a good opportunity.
A collaboration. Like, they're doing the same work as I'm doing with Trisomy 13.
Yep.
Under Joe's, in Joe's memory, and you're doing the same. You're there with me. Like, we co-wrote the book, and it's a great book. I think it's. Someone sent a review to me just today, actually, and said it was very hard to read because she likes me and cares about me, and she found it very hard to read. And she said she had to process a lot of it, and it was a hard. But I think it's I don't know. I don't know who it's good for. I don't know who needs to, who it would help.
Yeah, I think that it's important for, like you said, it's another type of resource for parents that get a diagnosis like this, because you can have facts and you can have charts and your rights and all that stuff, but then to hear stories of, like, this is what I was going through. This is my memoir formatted story of our experience.
Some of the stuff feels like you're losing your mind. But it's like,
that's hearing standard. That somebody else is going through the exact same feelings and stuff, I'm sure is a big deal. And
for a lot of the same reasons. So I think I just said I was going to do episodes on Trisomy 13. I guess this is it. But I am hoping to get some of the other writers, because there are other people who've shared their stories.
But also self-publishing. Because that's your first experience in self-publishing, and you did the cover and you did the formatting and you...
So Stephen Hoke did the cover.
Well,
he did the artwork for the cover.
Yeah, you did the cover design.
I did the cover design, and it was a really great experience. And I feel like that was a Joe moment where I tried it for the first time. It was something I always wanted to do. I never dreamed I would be writing about a baby that died.
You did the whole process of your first book?
But I mean, he held my hand through all that. Yeah. I mean, maybe he was holding my hand bringing you into my life however many years before. Like, I don't know. I think there might be something out there. And I'm going to call it Joe if that's okay with everybody.
Okay.
Anyway, so
we'll allow it.
So I'm going to look a little further into it. I have the books ordered. They'll be here, I think, early next week. So I'm going to talk about that. And yes, we are still worried about the meeting that I talked about last week. But
that's this week.
Josh is my most grounded, hilarious companion and confidant and encourager and all those things. I was so stressed out about that meeting. And then we went for a walk the other day. And he had me buckled over laughing. Like, you just have this way of, like, putting stuff in perspective and asking these questions that are like, I never thought of that. So by the time the conversation was over, I have this costume that I made a couple of years ago. Remember Orange is the New Black?
Mm-hmm.
I had a red costume made. So it was like scrubs, and I put,
It wasn't a red costume. It was the character's name
character
was red.
Yeah. She was Captain Janeway on one of the Star Trek.
I'm sorry.
What?
One of the Star Treks.
Wait, what? Wasn't she?
One of the... It's a Voyager.
On,
it's one of the best Star Trek. Voyager,
one of.
Come on.
Still one of. Nothing I said was wrong there.
I know.
It was just an Oxford comma missing.
Just the show that was all right. It was on TV for a while.
I didn't watch it.
Terrible. I hated it. Probably when...
Sweet
yes,
night.
Red from Orange is the New Black was the Captain Janeway in Voyager.
Yes, and I made a set of scrubs, and I had like Department of Corrections,
it was
on
very
the
cool.
back and all that stuff, and I had like a little badge made.
We did that was before we did like screen printing and vinyl and all that stuff.
I've been doing that stuff for years,
right?
Before cricket, long before cricket.
Before cricket, it
like the old-fashioned way.
area.
But I had a crazy red hair at the time. What?
It was the pre-cricket era, not area.
I had crazy red hair at the time, and I had it all spiked up, and nobody understood who I was, and I was dressed up with the kids.
We were just following the kids around.
Well, it wasn't an adult. It wasn't a costume.
We didn't go to a party or anything. Yeah.
Sorry, should we check on the pasta?
We'll finish up.
Okay. I got way more to talk about. I was going to do a quick one this week. Anyway, so I was going to wear that to the meeting to go in with a Department of Corrections outfit on, and I just laughed so much at the image that it was like, I don't care about this meeting.
Go in shackles.
Yeah, like, I don't care. These are just people, and a week from now, this is going to be a memory. And just to go in there and go, I think I'm going to go in and high five everybody. Like, what? Come on, this is a joke.
Like hockey players coming onto the ice, just high fiving.
Good to see you. I should wear like a Buddy the Puffin outfit or something. Just go in like as a mascot but I don't know, man. It just put some levity in it, and I was like, you know what? What am I worried about? This is crap.
Yeah.
Like. And then Josh had and when I got into that frame of mind, it was like, oh, you know what? Josh was like, why don't you try this and this? Why don't you bring this to the meeting? And like, that's brilliant. But when we started laughing about it, that's when all the energy flowed. And I love that about you, because you really are my person that helps me get to that spot. And
you do it for me all the time too, by the way.
What? No, what?
You do. Because I'll be like stressed about something or trying to figure out a work thing, and you're like, why don't you just? And it's like, oh yeah.
Oh.
So we're a good team.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, I'm learning a lot this week, because I would have said that if I do that for anybody, I would have said that was pretty new. But so 30-year reunion, it's another Joe moment. I had this locker mate. He had a locker next to mine, and I didn't. It's someone like I haven't even considered it. It was like I have this thing with Dodge Ram trucks. I had no idea why, and then I reconnected with somebody who drives a Dodge Ram and had a Dodge Ram like years and years ago when I knew him, and it's like that's not why I like Dodge Ram trucks. I mean, I love those pearl blue Dodge Ram 1500s. I just love them. And it's comical how many emails I've gotten saying those trucks are crap. Whatever. Listen, they're beautiful.
Keep on scrolling.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just I don't care. I'm not going to fix it. I mean, and if I can afford a Dodge Ram 1500, I can hopefully afford repairs. I don't care how much it costs to repair it. I don't care. They look good, and I want to see me in one. But anyway, I didn't realize. So anyway, I get to the reunion, and I had this like eureka. I'm going to call them Joe moments with this guy Joe. It was wild. Like we were, I guess grade 12 or whatever, but his locker was next to mine, and I loved him so much. Like I just loved him. He was just a beautiful human being. He was always really nice to me. And I saw him at the reunion last night, and it was like just this. And I had something that I had said to him 30 years ago. I mean, the year we graduated, I said something shitty to him, and I've carried it. Like, when I think about him, it was like, oh, I can't believe I said that. I'm not going to say what it was, because it's so stupid. But I went up to him, and I was like, I'm so glad to see you. And we hugged and everything. And I was just like, I just want to apologize for this thing I said 30 years ago. And he just stared at me like, I don't remember that. And I was like, but Later in the night, he came up to me and said, "Until I saw you tonight, I forgot how much I liked you." And I went, "What?" And he was like, he said, "It just all came back. You always made me feel so good about myself."
Yeah.
And amazing. I was like, "Wait a second. Are you?" And it was like one of these moments where I had like this epiphany of, so here's that's what he said to me. And I said, "Are you saying that you remembered how much you liked me because I made you feel good?" And I meant it in a really mean, like, "How dare you? You mean you don't think I'm a good person? You don't think I'm pretty? You don't think I'm smart?" And it was like, "Yeah, Vickie, that's what love means."
Yeah.
When you feel good around somebody. And I think the next level of that is, I love how I feel around this person. So I'm going to do everything I can to be around this person and try to make them happy. Like, I think that's kind of the core of what it is to love someone,
and
right?
There was a lot of love in that room last night. I heard that word a lot.
We weren't like that. Like, we were not. Well, we didn't throw that word around when we were 18.
Maybe it takes 30 years to.
But it was a whole lot of love. Like, there was a lot of hugs with "I love you" whispered into each other's ears. I mean. It was like, and it was so free flowing and beautiful, and like groups of us standing around going, "I love you guys. This was so great." But it was a Joe moment, and on the way home I was like, I named my kid Joe. Mm-hmm. And it was because, and I have a cousin, Joe, in California, who I adore. I absolutely adore. And like, my memories of people named Joe, it was like, oh my God, I can't tell him I named my kid Joe because he'll like but it was like, but I mean, and it's funny because he's not on Facebook and he, he's going back to BC and whatever. But like, there was just this connection because we were musically connected as well. And he's in a band and I was like, "Hey, I want to come to BC." And he was like, "I'll definitely hook you up with places to play." And I was like, "Maybe your band could play." And he was like, "Oh," and there was just all these lights going off. And I was like, the building was closing down. We had to leave. But it was like,
swept out.
But it was like, we should do this every year. And I know people say that, but like, I think we all meant it. It was so. Now, I will also say there were a couple of not incidents, but like a couple of interactions where it was like, when I first walked in, there was this lady standing next to my Joe, and she smiled and was like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "Hey," and I didn't recognize her. I wouldn't know her from a table. So we're over like filling out our name cards, like our little name stickers. And I saw her name that she wrote down, and I almost fell down. So
there were some people that were assholes.
It was.
Is what you're saying?
Now, hold on. I was like, what? I really felt woozy. And I was like, what? Why were you waving at me? And the good news is, we had a great moment. I had a moment to tell her, like, you were a bully in high school, and before that, and you were in junior high, she was a beast of a person, an absolute beast. So her coming over to me at the reunion is like, "Honey," right? So I did pull her in. I was like, "Listen, we're all here for, healing some trauma tonight." And I said, "You know what? I'm glad your life is going really well." And she was like, "Oh my God, thank you. Life is going so well." And I know her life is an absolute train wreck. For one thing, her Facebook profile is, I won't use the real name, Steph James. Let's say that. Everybody.
It's a couple profile.
It's a couple that shares one profile, and you know what that means. Yeah, so rough. Her life is not going as great as, but like, I hope it goes better. Like, if she's so uncomfortable at the reunion that she's coming up and saying hello to me and pretending she liked me, like, you know what, honey, I wish you all the best. Yeah. But it was like, why are you talking? And there was another lady that came up and she was like, she was my high school bully, and she just came up and hugged me, and I was like, "What are you doing?
What's happening right now?"
And she was like, "How's your music going?" And man, I gotta tell you, this might reveal a little more than you want to know about Vickie Morgan, but I relished it. I was like, I'm not doing a lot this year for music, but I am doing Feast of Cohen, and her jaw. On the Scrooge, what is this? What's the Scrooge movie?
Christmas Carol.
The Christmas Carol. Yeah. Where the guy's jaw falls because he doesn't have it tied up with a handkerchief. Like, her jaw went, bah. And it was my proudest moment of my whole life because it was like, yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Are you doing Feast of Cohen? No. And it was. But now I'm done. There was a lot
of love.
It's an even playing field now. I got my moment. She made me feel like crap in high school. I know that kind of stung her a little tiny bit because she was trying to make me feel small. And I was like, yeah, Feast of Cohen, ever heard of it? It wasn't that mean. It was a brief, like, passing in the night kind of comment. But it was comical to go back and see the people who I was so intimidated by. And they were all just people.
Yeah, exactly.
They were just people with their own, and like I was worried about what I was going to wear and what I was going to say, and there wasn't one single person in that whole room that nobody asked me if I finished school, nobody asked me what I'm doing for work right now, nobody asked if I was married.
The stuff you worry about. Nobody
asked if I had kids. Nobody asked about my personal life because every single person there was so wrapped up in their own life and their own.
That's high school. Anyway.
What are people going to ask me about? Yeah. They were worried about what they were wearing, how they looked, if they put weight on, if they lost weight, if they look older, if they have gray hair, if they're bald. Like nobody was in that room was thinking about me. So why worry?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
just live your life. Like it just. I wish I could go back to my 17-year-old self, 16-year-old self, and say, you're all equal.
Yep,
we're all equal. The playing field was so leveled last night. Like, just it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like these.
I'm glad you had that experience.
And there was people that came up to me and said, "I'm healing so much trauma tonight. Like I didn't realize this person thought this or that this person apologized." The apologies that were flying around, It was like, man, are we really carrying around these wounds that are so unnecessary? And how much more are we doing of that? And so anyway, I did have a Joe moment where this human being that taught me so much in high school and just 30 years later gives me this moment and like just taught me what love means in a brief, looks me in the eye and says, you made me feel so good about myself.
A good perspective.
And it was like, wait, are you saying that? Oh my God, that's what it is, isn't it? That's love. Like that's right there. And it was like, yeah, well, see ya. Go back to your life in BC and I'm going to go back to my life and maybe I'll see you next year or 5 years from now or 10 years from now. Or maybe like the next thing will be, a memoriam because nobody knows who's going to be around. Like we're all close to...
You might as well just enjoy it. And
well, we're close to 50.
Good feelings, right?
We're all close to 50. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah. So we're all, I feel pretty young most of the time, but that was like a stark reminder, like, no, honey, you've been out of high school for 30 years. But anyway, thank you to the graduating class of Gonzaga, 1995.
Nice experience.
And thank you to anybody that ever comes across this podcast. Like they were my formative years. And you think formative years mean like, I don't know what I thought they meant, but it taught me all these things that I was able to do when the opportunity was there, that it didn't matter that I came from no money or that, it didn't matter what I was supposed to have in my life. There was all these opportunities and there was no judgment if you wanted to try something new. And I liked that. It was really beautiful. It was a beautiful experience. And I don't know if anybody else had those at Gonzaga, but I did. And I loved it. And is that everything? Is that all of our notes?
Let's do final thoughts because we got a casserole we got to take out of the oven.
Oh, final thoughts. Okay. Oh, I almost forgot. The Are You Mad at Me podcast is officially the #1 podcast in self-publishing, in all of Canada.
Woo. #1.
Now, you don't get an award for that. So I went ahead and I got this little trophy for us. There's a little store in town called Bins.
Bins for less.
Is it? So I got
stuff that falls off of shipping containers.
I got a little trophy.
You need
I can't get it open. This is ironic. I'm not getting the #1 award for opening trophy bags. I wonder if we could get this engraved. This is not an official trophy. First.
Yes, it is.
Hold it up together. Can we get some? Can we add some confetti in afterwards?
We'll put some music and confetti.
Are You Mad at Me? #1 podcast on self-publishing in Canada. Take that. We are #4 in marketing. So there you go. Boom. We did it. I'm gonna.
Fantastic final thoughts.
Was that a final thought?
Yeah. #1. This is episode 38.
No,
39, sorry. Episode 39. We did it.
So we are coming up on, this is my final thought. Okay. October is coming right around the corner.
Self-publishing
and it's self-publishing month. And so I am in the process of figuring out what we're going to do this year to recognize self-publishing month. I think we're going to launch Are You Mad at Me as a public access show during self-publishing month, which means we will be shooting episodes during September outside the regular shooting schedule to have ready to roll to start airing in October for self-publishing month. So we are looking for authors to come on and on a Zoom call or video chat or whatever. We'll have some author guests on to talk about their books. I don't know if it's going to be a regular podcast or if we're just going to do extra episodes outside of it.
Okay.
But we are going to be promoting other people's books and our own books during self-publishing month. And I still haven't quite figured out if we're going to do an open book night or if we're going to go rent some space and like record a bunch of episodes in person maybe or like have a 20-minute, I don't know.
Yeah, we got time to figure that out.
But yeah, self-publishing month is coming up and so we're really excited about that. And congratulations on a #1 podcast in self-publishing in Canada, man. Paula, you got anything to say about that?
It's good seeing you again, Paula.
No, Paula, you should sit down. She's feeling kind of saucy right now, so I don't think we should let her talk.
We're going to go get our casserole out of the oven. Thanks for listening.
Do you have any final thoughts?
That's it. I'm really glad you had that experience at the high school reunion, and maybe one day I'll have a reunion. We'll go back to North Carolina and go to my high school reunion.
I will say everybody that was there last night loved you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, they didn't care about me.
No, you were the ultimate. Like, that was the, if someone had told me when I graduated high school that I would even have somebody as a date, I'd say, I don't think so.
I did think it would be funny to do one of those movie characters where, like, the movies where somebody goes to their high school reunion and they don't want to go without a date, so they like hire a male escort and they're like pretending to be, or I think there was a wedding date or something, like with what's her name, Deborah Winger. But I thought it'd be funny if we showed up and like pretended like I'm a person that didn't know you really, and
my
I'm
husband, partner,
saying all the wrong names.
My husband, partner, boyfriend, everybody wanted to go to my high school reunion and pretend
and play a character,
pretend he was a hired sex worker,
escort,
and mess up details about our history on purpose to make people there think that I hired somebody. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, folks. It just doesn't. I mean, find somebody that will do that that will pretend to be a pretend boyfriend.
It's a Morgan adventure.
You got brain problems, dude. Like,
I know.
Anyway, congratulations on the big. Congrats, like, for real. I show up and I do I talk for ramble on for whatever. You do the heavy lifting. You're doing the editing and you do all the clips and you're doing all the promotion, and it's taken off. People are starting to really. It's getting some traction and it's growing exactly the way we wanted it to. We have a brand new client where her book is going to be out probably at the beginning of September. Her name is Cavell Caravan. I mean, it's happening. The books are doing really well.
Yeah.
It's happening. And so thank you to everybody that comments, leaves a like, puts a vote on it, whatever you do.
Follow us on TikTok.
I should really know more about the podcast platforms.
Yeah,
I don't.
Follow us on TikTok, because we just started a TikTok account and we're putting lots of videos on there too.
But try to engage if you possibly can. We certainly appreciate it. If you can engage with the podcast, like leave a comment on the YouTube if you're on there, or wherever you see wherever you're listening to our podcast. If you could put a little heart on there or do the thing that you do on those platforms, because it does matter and it does help let people know about it. But, and again, of course, if you know of an author or a writer who is that's the same thing, who would like to be on a podcast to talk about, and we're going to need a little help once October gets here. If you're in the US and you say, I'd like to see that show on my local public access station, it will be available on Peg Media. So if you get in touch with any station in the country, in the US, if you get in touch with that station and say, there's an episode of Are You Mad at Me? I'd like for you to broadcast it on our local station because there's an author on it I like, or because I'm on it, or, you being the person getting in touch. It will be available on Peg Media, free for them to download, so anybody can access it. And most stations, 99% of them, are going to say, yes, absolutely, we'll air it, because there's been a request from a resident. So anyway, that's how you can help us, and let people know that we're looking for guests, and let's make this the best self-publishing month ever, which, last year was really good. But we have the potential to make this even bigger this year. And I'm excited about that because it's a really great, self-publishing is fantastic. And marketing is fun. And this is all the stuff that, this really feels really good.
We're doing it.
Didn't come up at the high school reunion. All that stuff. All the degrees. No one cared. Nobody asked about it. It didn't make me feel any more secure. So if you're thinking about going to university or college, you don't need to. Fine. It doesn't help anything.
Episode 39.
Episode 39. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
And I'm Vickie Morgan.
And I'm Josh Morgan.
And we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening.
See ya.